Change and development are critical elements of automotive design and engineering. Remaining on the cutting edge of technological advances is hard and diligent work. It's a pursuit that Chrysler Motors is dedicated to. Hello, and welcome back to Mastertech. In last month's release, 1989 New Model Highlights Part 1, we briefly looked at many changes and innovations that have been implemented on vehicles offered by Chrysler Motors. In New Model Highlights Part 2, we will expand on many of the topics previously discussed and introduce some that haven't yet been talked about, from brakes to locks and electrical features. By the end of this presentation, you should have a better idea of what's on the way from Chrysler in 1989. Well, we've got a lot to cover, so let's get started. Performance in recent years has become a critical element that's attracted many buyers to Chrysler Motors vehicles. Recognizing that performance doesn't end with just acceleration and handling, engineers have developed a high-performance four-wheel disc brake system that's standard on the Daytona Shelby and optional as part of the GTC Grand Touring Coupe and Convertible package on LeBaron. This system has new, larger components, including 11-inch diameter vented front rotors with 2 1/3-inch bore calipers, and 11 1/4-inch diameter vented rear rotors with 1.5 inch bore calipers. A special 94/100-inch bore master cylinder is also included to provide the required additional fluid volume. High-speed, fade-resistant, non-asbestos linings are used on both front and rear. Use of the same lining in the front and rear assures that brake balance is maintained during hard use. These brakes have excellent high-speed fade resistance and overall system performance that's competitive with other high-performance sport cars. Chrysler Motors is confident that buyers have made the right choice in selecting one of their vehicles. And to ensure that they continue to go in the right direction after the sale, a new compass calibration procedure has been introduced on vehicles so equipped. The new automatic calibration procedure eliminates the previous manual approach that was subject to error, because it required the driver to accurately rotate the vehicle 180 degrees. The new calibration circuitry also compensates for changes of magnetic fields in the surrounding sheet metal, which occur naturally over time. The initial calibration is achieved by rotating the vehicle through 3 complete circles during the course of normal driving, or simply circling around a parking lot will cause the calibration light that indicates the calibration procedure underway to go out. The compass will then remain calibrated automatically. The procedure of setting the zone variance, which allows the driver to determine a true north orientation of the vehicle, regardless of location, is done differently than on previous compasses by turning the ignition key on, then turning the display off by pressing and holding the compass temperature button. While holding the compass temperature button, press and hold the US metric button for approximately 5 seconds. Next, VAR indicating variance will appear in the display while all other symbols are extinguished. Now press the US metric button until the number on the variance level matches that on the map in the operator's manual and service manual that indicates the specific number for your geographic location. Finally, press the compass temperature button and the display will go blank. After approximately 5 seconds, the compass display will reappear and the compass variance will be set to local conditions. Another new feature that offers driver convenience is the optional power-operated quarter vent windows that replace the previous manually operated unit. An electric motor at each window drives the operating mechanism through a cable. The operating mechanism toggles when closed to provide an effective lock. A low-travel, low-effort rocker-type switch for each window is located next to the power sunroof switch on the windshield header or on the optional overhead console. The power quarter window mechanism is a non-serviceable item and is repaired by replacement of the unit. This is done by removing the interior trim panels surrounding the unit. Then, unscrewing the 4 retaining bolts will enable it to be removed. Providing occupant security is of paramount concern to Chrysler Motors, and protecting vehicles from thieves offers another form of owner peace of mind. That added degree of security is offered in 1989 through the use of an optional security alarm system on the New Yorker, New Yorker Landau, and Dynasty. The new system is composed of sensors and switches, including the security alarm module, 4 door ajar switches, a hood ajar switch, a trunk key cylinder sensing switch, 2 door key switches, an instrument panel set lamp, new engine control computer software, and a power door lock circuit sensor. To arm the system, all you have to do is lock all the doors with the engine off using the power locks. If anyone attempts to open the hood, any of the 4 doors, or the trunk, the parking and tail lamps will begin to flash, the horn will sound, and fuel flow to the engine will be interrupted. To disarm the system, simply unlock one of the front doors with the key. If you receive a report of a problem with the system, diagnostics can be conducted with the use of the DRB2. It's an advanced system that's simple to use. There is no doubt comfort contributes to a pleasurable driving experience, whether it be a long road trip or brief shopping run. Seating and seat position can have a lot to do with this. Hence, Chrysler has developed a new memory seat feature that's available on New Yorker, New Yorker Landau, and Dynasty. The memory seat allows the driver to select either of 2 programmed combinations of seat and recliner positions by simply pressing a button. The memory seat is controlled by a microprocessor-based control module which works in conjunction with the power seat and power recliner. Presence of the memory seat does not inhibit direct operation of any of the adjustments. Direct operation is functionally the same as a non-memory system. 3 push-button switches on the driver's door trim panel control the setting and recall of the selected positions. A rocker switch mounted on the outboard seat side shield operates the power recliner. To program a desired combination, make sure the vehicle remains stationary throughout the procedure. Position the 6-way power seat and power recliner using the conventional method. Then store the positions by pressing the Set button once, followed immediately by pressing and releasing Memory Position Switch 1 or 2 once. Don't touch any of the seat or memory switches for 5 seconds. To recall a position, make sure the vehicle remains stationary. Also, the driver's seat belt must not be fastened, and the driver must not have pressed the set switch immediately before pressing the memory position switch. Then press either memory position switch 1 or 2. When the button is released, the seat will move. The seat or recliner may be readjusted in the conventional manner after memory recall without affecting memory. Remember, any forward or rearward motion of the vehicle, buckling of the driver's seat belt, any system switch actuation during recall movement, or more than one system switch actuation at a time will interrupt memory recall. This is a memory seat control module. One just like it is located under the driver's seat with this option. Each position adjustment is transmitted to the control module as voltages measured across variable resistors on each motor in the system. When the set and primary position switches are pressed, these voltages are recorded in the control module memory. The memory seat control module also includes some diagnostic routines. This self-diagnostic capability is outlined in the electrical service manual for front-wheel drive vehicles under the memory seat system. Car locks are not something people generally give a lot of conscious thought to. However, it's the job of Chrysler engineers to improve even the smallest component. For 1989, Spirit and Acclaim have a new key system, which offers customer benefits over the key and lock systems used in the past. A benefit of this system is that the keys are easier to use because they are double-sided and may be inserted into the key cylinder with either side up. Two keys are used as on previous corporate products, but one is a master key that fits all locks: doors, ignition, glove compartment, trunk, and optional security locks for the folding rear seat backs. The master key includes a molded soft vinyl head, as on previous door ignition keys. The second key, which is all metal, is labeled valet key. It operates only the door and ignition locks. This key can be used by parking attendants without concern for the security of the storage areas. The valet key will not operate the locks in the secured areas because they use different tumbler locations not accessible to the valet key. Another benefit is the centering spring on the door lock cylinders. When doors are locked or unlocked with the key cylinder returns to the center position for key removal. Security aspects of the lock system include new spring retainers, which hold the lock cylinders in the doors and make assembly easier, but resist being pushed out as well as or better than the previous retainer. The new plate tumbler arrangement is strong enough to prevent the lock from being broken by a hardened key. The change from pin tumblers to plate tumblers has simplified the locks and made them more compact, freeing up space within the doors needed for other door hardware. The new lock system offers increased freeze-up protection. It includes the previous unit shutter on outside key cylinders, which has proven very effective at resisting moisture. It also has a larger drainage area than the previous system to prevent any moisture which gets past the unit shutter from entering the tumblers and freezing. In the event that new or additional keys are needed for the locks, the key code is printed on the vehicle invoice from a barcode label, which accompanies the locks when they're installed in the car. This eliminates the chance for human error in transferring key code information to a metal tag which had accompanied the keys in the past. Since this is a new lock system, let's turn to our technician, Mike, to find out how service and repair procedures are conducted.
Thanks, Bud. Well, as we just heard, there are many interesting features regarding this new system. And there's a new service and repair package to help assist in any related repairs. The package eliminates the necessity of replacing all of the vehicle's locks when only one of the set requires replacing to retain the single key feature. What you're really doing is making a new lock to fit the existing keys. First, let's look at the way the keys are decoded as a result of their design. This is begun by inserting the key in the tapered slot of the key code plate and measuring each of the 7 cuts using the scale. Record the codes beginning with the head of the key. Not every key cut is used in all lock applications. Therefore, it's important to know which cuts pertain to which lock. By looking at this visual, we can see that cuts 1 through 6 are responsible for the ignition, 1 through 5, the door, 3 through 7, the trunk lid, 5 through 7, the folding rear seat, and the glove compartment. If you run into a situation where the key has been lost, the lock cylinder can be decoded in one of 2 ways to determine the key code. The first way is to remove the ignition lock cylinder and record the number off of the manufacturer's stamp. The second way is to disassemble at least 2 of the lock cylinders. For example, 1 valet lock and 1 master lock will give you all 7 key cuts. More information on the new lock system is available in the service manual or the September-October '88 Master Parts release.
Import development has also resulted in some technological advances that buyers will appreciate. Those improvements can be seen in the new Colt station wagon 4-wheel drive transfer case. The KM221 manual transaxle was developed from the KM210 2-wheel drive transaxle that will also be used in the 1989 Colt Turbo. This full-time 4-wheel drive mechanism with a center differential and viscous coupling combines the features of part-time and full-time 4-wheel drive. The new unit has the exceptional acceleration, cornering performance, and driving stability of part-time 4-wheel drive with low noise vibration and braking stability. Other improvements in this vehicle are fuel economy and tight corner braking. This unit constantly transmits the proper amount of power to the wheels through the center differential. The viscous coupling automatically controls the front and rear power transmission ratio when it's necessary to maintain driving stability. The center differential and the viscous coupling are located on the transfer center shaft to make the transaxle more compact and light. The outer plates are splined with the housing, and the inner plates are splined to the hub. They're installed alternately in the housing. The outer plates are positioned near the spacer rings, which provide the space between the plates. The inner plates slide on the splines of the hub. The viscous coupling is a kind of fluid clutch that uses viscous resistance, or what is referred to as shear stress of fluid, to transmit the torque or limit the differential operation. To allow for this capability, the viscous coupling uses silicone oil. Its viscosity is less susceptible to temperature changes. If the rotational speed is different between the housing and the hub, the viscous shear stress is generated in the silicone oil between the outer plates and the inner plates. Therefore, the torque can be transmitted between the housing and hub. At the normal condition, and when there's almost no difference of rotational speed between front and rear wheels, the torque is split to front and rear wheels at a ratio of 50-50 with the center differential. When there is a difference in rotational speed between front and rear wheels, the center differential operation is limited, and the torque is quickly and automatically split to front and rear axles at the proper ratio through the viscous coupling. When driving at a constant speed on a flat road, the viscous coupling will not be activated since the rotational speed of all the wheels is the same. During turning at low speed, a small rotational speed differential occurs between the right and left wheels as well as the front and rear wheels. Such rotational speed difference is compensated for by the 3 differentials. This allows for smooth driving performance. Since the rotational speed difference transmitted to the viscous coupling is very small, the operation of the center differential is not affected. When accelerating from a standstill, the center of the vehicle's gravity moves toward the rear, increasing the rear wheel load and decreasing the front wheel load. The rotational speed difference between the front and rear wheels increases, and the torque is transmitted to the rear wheels by the viscous coupling. The operation of the center differential is limited to secure acceleration from a standstill. In case a tire starts to lose traction on a slippery or muddy road, the rotational speed of that wheel will be increased by the differential operation. Since this causes a sharp increase of input and output speed difference of the viscous coupling, torque is transmitted to the wheels that are not slipping so that the vehicle can get through that road condition. Ram Raiders have a reputation for taking people where they want to go, regardless of the terrain. And in 1989, models equipped with the V6 will be going with a new rear suspension. This rear suspension has been changed from the leaf spring type that's being retained on the 2.6-liter model to 3-link trailing arms and lateral rod with coil springs and rigid axle. This advance improves riding comfort, steering controllability, and stability. Also, the number of components have been reduced to improve the serviceability. The trailing arm is now made by forging to improve rigidity and endurance. Coil springs are mounted on the axle housings to increase the life of trailing arm bushings. Completing this new suspension design feature, the shape of the lateral rod is now straight to provide increased rigidity. Well, this concludes 1989 New Model Highlights Part 2, the second part of our annual Highlights presentation. As you've seen, there are many new and interesting components that will be coming your way in future months. With the use of this videotape and reference book, recognition of these new Chrysler Motors features should be made easier, allowing you the initial knowledge necessary to approach customer problems. This advanced knowledge will help you in understanding and correcting those complaints, thereby generating greater customer satisfaction. Thanks for looking in, and we'll see you next month.